Queen Margrethe of Denmark has abdicated, and on January 14th of 2024, her son, Prince Frederik, Crown Prince Frederik of Denmark, will become the new king, and his wife, Princess Mary, will become Queen Mary. And this is very exciting news. It's also very much a shock to many people who have been following the royal family of Denmark, because everybody believed that Queen Margrethe would remain the queen pretty much her whole life. So tonight we're going to talk about that and the scandal behind what many are saying is the reason for this abdication, this shock abdication of Queen Margrethe of Denmark. Why is she abdicating when she always said that she wouldn't? So welcome. My name is DEANNA Falchook, and I'm super, super excited to talk to you tonight about the royal drama with the royal family of Denmark. I have this channel, Hot for History, and every now and then we go live to talk about mostly the British royal family, but tonight we're going to tackle information outside of Meghan and Harry, outside of Will and Kate, outside of Camilla and Charles, and we are going to talk about the royal family of Denmark and mainly kind of go into a little bit of a deep dive as to what is actually happening. So hello, Stephen. Hello, welcome from Quincy. I know that this is sort of out of context, and we will get back to, maybe we'll talk a little bit later on about the British royal family, but I wanted to tackle this so much because it's on my mind, and it's somewhat related to what we typically talk about, which is the British royal family. So Queen Margrethe is a distant cousin of Queen Elizabeth. She's a lot younger. She was born, I think, in 1940, and Queen Elizabeth was born in 1927, but her nickname's Daisy, and we know that Queen Elizabeth's was Lilibet. She rose to power as the queen in 1972 when her dad passed away, and she's been the ruling monarch of Denmark ever since, for like 52 years. So I have some interesting, I don't know, thoughts on the subject that I really wanted to pass by my audience here. But I wanted to kind of lay the foundation because many of us don't know. So I will be getting to your comments, guys. I love when you make comments. I love including all of your comments. And Rahala, I'm going to address this in 1 second, but I want to go through it. So Queen Margrethe has been queen for over 50 years. She always said that she would remain queen. She said that she would not abdicate the crown and that she would stay the course. And there hasn't been an abdication in Denmark since 1100 with this guy. His name was King Erik III. He decided to go into the monastery. So she has 2 sons. One of her sons is Frederik, who will become the king, and he's married to Queen Mary. I always say Queen Mary because she will be Queen Mary. Princess Mary, who is from Australia, and she's just an amazing woman. She learned the language. They've been married for 19 years. They have 4 children, gorgeous children. One is their oldest son is Christian. He's 18. He's very tall. You can't really tell in this picture. Then Princess Isabella, and then they have twins that are age 12, Vincent and Josephine. And so they have a gorgeous, gorgeous family, and Christian now will become the Crown Prince of Denmark. And last week, well, let's say December 31st, Margrethe got on the screen to do her annual New Year's, address. And while she was on there, she made this shocking announcement that she will be abdicating as of January 14th. Many people were totally shocked. It was a surprise. And many commentators are saying they know why. So we're going to go into why. Okay, here we go, guys. Let me look at the comments first. I know that Margrethe would leave the throne, but was smart because when a queen marry a man, they can't divorce. Okay, so Rahala is getting to the point of something I'm going to talk about, which is the alleged affair of Prince Frederik to a woman named Genevieve Casanova. So Mary is very well loved, and especially by the Queen of Denmark, Queen Margrethe. Mary's mother I think had passed away even before they were married. And Margrethe never had any daughters. So they became really, really close. Margrethe cites her reason for abdicating as her health, because in February of 2023, she had back surgery, and she says this is all because of her health. And yet people are wondering because of the scandalous news. So here we go. Late in 2023, in the fall, Frederik, who has been known to kind of have a roving eye. In fact, right before his twins were born, he was out on the town dancing in a club with some blonde, right? So he has been known to sort of be, flirtatious and out there. He's gorgeous, but so is Mary. But this particular one is interesting because in October, maybe it was late October, early November, I don't really have the dates. He was seen very blatantly with no tact and no finesse out on what appeared to be, again, this is alleged as far as what they were doing. It's not alleged what everybody saw, but with Genevieve Casanova, who is sort of a socialite. She was married to a duke. She's a Mexican native, but then she also became more of a Spanish socialite because she married a duke, and she was married to him for a couple of years. She was on MasterChef as a contestant, and just gorgeous woman. But they were out, and it was very well detailed as far as like what they were doing. So they went to the park. They were in Madrid. They went to a park. Then they went to a Picasso exhibit. Then they went back to her apartment, they were there for 2 hours, changed their clothes, went to dinner, closed down the restaurant after seeing a flamenco show. He opened the door for her. Press was everywhere. There was no hiding this. It was very, very obvious that they were out, right? It's very obvious that they were out there doing this. So that news hit like in November and December. So what happens is that Mary then, who typically the entire family goes to Australia a little bit before Christmas, she went by herself, and she was seen crying, and there was all this drama, and there was a lot of concern. Eventually, Frederik joined them, and then around Christmas time, they were seen together looking totally fine, like everything was fine. But then this surprise announcement. So there have been rumors that Mary was like, I'm just over it. I'm going to get a divorce. So word on the street, and what everybody's saying back to the headlines, is that this abdication was due to the fact that there was an affair. Again, this is alleged. I'm just, we're all speculating. There was an affair. Mary was like, I'm done. And Queen Margrethe was going to wait to abdicate till whenever, but she figured, this is what they're saying, and especially this guy, Phil Dampier, who is a British royal correspondent, is saying, and I feel like there's something to this, that the reason why she abdicated so quickly was to save the marriage. So then it makes you wonder, well, why? Why would that save the marriage? And it makes total sense, because let's follow this, and this is where I want to get into a discussion with you guys, so I'm going to look at the notes. Why? Because let's say if they held out for her abdication, and he's being so blatant with this dating of this woman, he may actually be totally into the woman and starting a more serious relationship, which could fall into something similar to Camilla and Charles, although, different, which then could lead to them having a long-lasting relationship. Princess Mary, divorcing him, and then Parliament getting upset, like, what are they going to do? Because there's still these anti-monarchists over there as well. And then he can't necessarily just marry this other woman and then present her as the queen. So, and yet he may have thought that that's what he wanted to do. Let's say he really was into her, because he wasn't trying to hide it. Apparently, it was very, very clear. He used bad discernment, and it just wasn't, it was extremely overt. His dating of this woman, Genevieve Casanova, was very, very out there, right? So what they're saying is, even though she says, oh, it's because of my back, I wasn't feeling well, I'm getting older, why not do it? And honestly, it's not so out of context for Queen Margrethe to do something that's so different, because she also took away the prince and princess titles from her son. I always say Joachim, but I think it's called Joachim or something like that. His kids now don't have those titles. They were kind of demoted, for lack of a better way of putting it, as count and countesses. And so she is a little bit different. And, there are reasonable decisions that were made in order for that could have been the reasoning for her to abdicate in order to get her 55-year-old son onto the throne. I mean, there are practical reasons why it could have made sense, but she still could have delayed it. And it seemed just so harsh. So this is what they're saying, is that behind the scenes, Mary was like, I'm done, I'm gone. And that there was a deal made. It's like, okay, let's make you the queen. Let's do this fast. Because then Prince Frederik, basically his plans, if he had these plans, again, speculation, alleged, his plans to maybe continue this relationship with this woman, kind of force the hand for Mary to get a divorce for him, and then eventually rise to the throne, make her a queen, make Genevieve a queen, just cannot happen. And his choice would then have been to have either abdicated himself, making Christian the the king, that's his son, and marry the queen mother. Got it? So this is very, very interesting stuff, and I'm just interested in all of this. So let's see what your questions are and what your comments. I already took Rahala's comment, so I'm going to look at so Queen Margrethe would be the queen mother. No, queen mother, yes, but I think she also would be just considered Her Royal Highness the Queen. They're still going to call her that. And then let me see what you're saying here. This relates in terms of the status of all other monarchs and their ability to survive. I think we have a good chance. Yeah, this shows an orderly transition, and I hope Charles abdicates it by 75 too. Yeah, so that is a really great point. In other words, I just admire her so much. Either way, if she kind of had made this kind of backdoor deal with Mary and with her son, like, get your acts together. And if you do, let's go for it. And I want you to become king and queen now. Or at least put on a good show, because I want Mary to be the queen, and, hide your infidelities, whatever. If it's that, or if it's that, hey, I'm 83 years old, you're 55. Let's get our acts together, come together, be the royal family that you are. Mary has studied the language. She's been sort of an impeccable princess, and partner to Frederik. So let's make this happen now. So Stephen, you probably are right in that respect. I mean, that could be great. Thank you for the thumbs up. Okay, so for my wife for Christmas, I got her a hand signed by Charles lithograph of the Castle of May. Oh, that's nice, on royal website. And I would love to see something like that. Hey, okay, welcome from Vegas. So what do you guys think? I was really trying to get my brain sort of behind this concept of, okay, if he's having an affair and he's being totally blatant about it, in October, November, when they were dating and they were out there and all the tabloids and the paps were following them around, and he wasn't trying to hide it. In his mind, he was probably thinking, I'm going to be king one day. I'm having problems with my wife, whatever. Or if he was just like, he couldn't be so oblivious to think that the paparazzi would not find him and would not take pictures of him. There are so many pictures. I just posted a couple of them in this slide that I just showed a couple of minutes ago. These are just a couple, and she's a beautiful, gorgeous woman, but it's like, why would you be out in Madrid, just a short plane ride away from Denmark, hanging out with a socialite with dozens of pictures, being followed by the press, when you know what the press does, because you've been seriously like in media like your whole entire life? Like, why would you be so overt? So again, Phil Dampier, he's like, No, this is definitely, she abdicated to save the marriage. But the question is, and I like to hear from you guys, what would the thought process behind that? I mean, to me, it's like to salvage the actual royal family of Denmark, because Mary is extremely popular, and to not have it be a drama, because if it is a royal drama and Parliament needs to get involved and all of a sudden say, hey, we're not going to let him be king because, or you can be king, but your bride, let's say he, had a full-time long-term relationship with his mistress. If that's the case, again, it's alleged. So Margrethe is like, hey, I'm going to pull one on them and I'm going to show them what I want to do. Or they also speculate that Mary was gone and she's like, I'm done. And she was in Australia, like, her swan song, like, that's where I'm going. And I don't know what to do, but I'm done. I'm ready to, divorce my husband, right? Because there's been divorce rumors for years. It's possible. I really think that the Queen probably had some conversations with Mary to talk her out of that. And I think that this abdication was somewhat of a negotiating tool for them. That's what I think. Okay. In England, we don't need a monarchy of Jerry. Yeah. I mean, I feel like, first off, I want to say this about Queen Margrethe. What an amazingly, I don't know, she's just beautiful, smart, pretty shrewd, different, very different. And it does sound like she's trying to do things a little bit different. So again, all of this speculation, all of these rumors, although we do know that he was out on the town with this woman, sorry, whether or not anything happened, still, in my opinion, guys and women, if you're a royal, if you're, the future king, you don't do this. You don't go out hanging out with some chick who's not your future queen and go out on the town. You just don't. Like, it just shows some very, I don't know, very intelligent decisions, right? So that's what I think. Do you know the connection with Greenland? No. Thank you for the compliment on my earrings. No, I don't know about I don't actually know a lot about them. I do know that their son, Prince Christian, is 18 years old. He's extremely tall, very handsome. He's going to be the next king and it's going to be great. I do know that her other grandchildren are amazing. And one of them is a fashion model in Paris. I think is not Vincent. Vincent's one of the other kids, Nikolai or something like that. So I do know that when prince and princesses are married, sorry, dear. The Harry and Meghan, I know it is off topic, but did they marry for money or is it true love? We're going to talk. We'll talk about Harry and Meghan too. I mean, apparently the way that they met, I love their story. She was working as like a marketing exec at a real estate firm in Sydney. She's from Hobart, Tanzania. So she's from Australia. And she was living in Sydney, and this was in the year 2000 during the Summer Olympics. So during the Summer Olympics, she went out to a pub, which it was like, okay, so-and-so invited so-and-so, so-and-so invited so-and-so. And then she was like the fourth person invited to this thing. And at this event was Frederik, his brother, like the future king of Spain, one of the royals from Greece. She didn't know who any of them are. They were all at the pub. She shook Frederik's hand. They started dating, but she said she's a realist. She said that, oh, well, I never expected anything out of it. I really liked him. He liked me, but we just kept talking and talking. He had other relationships. Like, he had this relationship with this lingerie model. I think her name was Katja Storkholm or something like that. He was in love with her, apparently. But he wanted to marry her, but then the Queen was like, no. And then he was dating this pop singer right before he met Mary, and he just called it off because he was dating her kind of the same time that he met Mary. So he kept going back and forth to Australia. Then she, in 2003, came back up to live in Copenhagen, and then he proposed, and they were married in 2004. And so, do I think it's love? It seemed like it. They seemed very relaxed, very natural, considering that, you know, there's all this pomp and circumstance around them. She then proceeded to learn Dutch and speaks it fluently now. I mean, it's been 19 years, but took it very seriously, studied the history, and, like I said, became this impeccable princess. She oftentimes is compared to Princess Kate. She's older than Princess Kate. I think she's 51, and but amazing, you know. Okay, the life you are demanded is as to live. Okay, let's read this. Okay, Aaron, more will do the same. The life you are demanded to live as royalty, the stuff only royals will ever hear and know, makes life so oppressive. Very few can tolerate it. Yeah, and I think, and that's true. None of us know. None of us know that. And I think, imagine 52 years of having to make these appearances, and imagine you're at the age of 83. And honestly, she seems to be in great shape. She says it was just this health scare that particular year. And, you know, she made this decision, and it makes so much sense, because otherwise Frederik's going to be like in his 60s or 70s when he rises to the throne and doesn't really get to appreciate it as much. The other thing, putting him in this position as king is going to make it even harder for him to go out and just, you know, let me go over to Madrid and walk the streets and hang out with, you know, my mistress. So I think, I do think I agree with you, Aaron, that there's probably going to be a lot, and Stephen said this too, that there's going to be a lot more people abdicating. And I do hope that Charles does the same. I feel like, I mean, I'm fine with Charles, and Camilla has grown on me, but and it's still relatively new, but, you know, I can't imagine. I mean, I worry about his health because of his you know, huge sausage fingers and his, like, you know, red face all the time, and like, I worry about him. But and I mean, they're interesting to follow, guys. I'll have to do another night where we're going to go through a lot of stuff. Stephen has sent me some information. Meghan recently, just some of the funny faux pas you're seeing, and the question of whether Meghan Markle still has her, the big question is, does she still have her deal? Does she still have her deal with WME? Will this be the year that Harry and Meghan come back? They're still saying that Meghan's like, I will never come back. It's so sad. So now we're segueing into into Harry and Meghan. I mean, King Charles has only seen Lilibet once, and I always go back to this. I feel like Harry and Meghan are like, it's elder abuse all the way around. They were disrespectful to the Queen. They were disrespectful to Thomas Markle. Yes, I know he made a mistake, but they've done a lot worse than he has, in my opinion. It's like serious narcissistic gaslighting by continuing to punish him when they've done the same to the royal family. The king really wants to see his grandchildren. They're not doing well in America, even though they'll say they're doing great and there's something great coming. It's always like, oh, there's a new project coming. They're not doing great. And so I don't know. I mean, they're on their way out, as far as I can see. Nearly 2 years. I don't know. I need to get your name, Constipated. I don't know. I don't know nothing about that. I know nothing about that. Okay. Hobart and Tanzania is like Hawaii on steroids. Yeah, they keep showing pictures of her at the beach. They produce much of pain meds for the world. Really? They have protected poppy fields. Oh my gosh. Woo! That sounds like fun. Yeah. And okay. So wait. So here, when you say she doesn't walk well, are we talking about Meghan? The other thing is that there's a rumor now that's out regarding Meghan Markle that says that she was actually she's so bone thin at this point, you know, but they're saying that she was on some of those diet meds, which would be crazy for her. So that's what we're dealing with. So anyhow, if you have any other questions or anything else you want to say, or what would you like to see us talk about, now that I'm kind of back in the fold? I've been all over the place. I've been in many different states in the past few months, and that's why I haven't been live here. But what do we want to hear? That should be a crime. She has alienated all of her family, and it shows the problem. Yeah. I am just, so by the way, this is another, I'm just throwing out all of this trivia. I read recently that Camilla actually her popularity has gone up in the polls, which is sort of shocking to a lot of people. But people, it's, they're starting to realize that she's sort of low drama compared to everybody else. She just kind of goes with the flow. And yes, Meghan seems to run the show. I have, it never bothered me much until I watched, again, this is going to sound almost like, it's really not sexist. It's more like protocol, right? So protocol with the royals is, whoever the royal is, could be the queen, and her husband needs to walk behind her, right? But Prince Harry and Meghan, like, she's always going first. And look, I'm a pretty liberated woman, but I can imagine if I was in that position, I would be walking a little bit behind the queen. I would probably be walking a little bit behind my husband. She's always kind of out there first, and it just looks clunky. And you see all of these videos of Meghan, like with these veterans and stuff, like basically leading the parade, and it's sort of embarrassing. I do talk a lot about the British royal family, but you're right, Rahala, I have not been live for a while. But that is sort of my jam, the British royal family. That's what we talk about. Apparently, Christmas was amazing. Kate had her event. Kate and Zara are becoming really close. I think Zara and Mike are sort of taking the place for Will and Kate of what Harry and Meghan should have been. And during Christmas, Mia Tyndall was holding Prince Louis's hand, which was so cute. And I don't know. I think it's going to be a good year for the British royal family. But as far as Harry and Meghan, it's still looking sad. Wanted to give her and Harry a chance, but I know. So I think we all wanted to give them a chance. I think we were all super excited and could totally understand why they would want to come to America and sort of leave, kind of having that strict control that they had with in being with the royal family. But they took it to another extreme. It's one thing to walk away and said, this is not the lifestyle for me permanently. And then maybe still visit your family, just be living in another place, but show respect to them. But what they basically did was showed how entitled and how disrespectful they are. And I think everybody's caught on. And, they don't like it. That's why their popularity has waned. And that's why they're not the asset that they thought they would be to Hollywood and America. Like, Americans are tired of them. Okay, let's see what Yvette says. If my husband was the prince, I would walk a little behind him because everyone is there to see him, and that's okay. Yeah, I would too. And I've watched. It's most of these people, they're not super strict. They're not going to like elbow you when you get too far ahead. I mean, I've seen couples, they're walking kind of together, but let's say they're getting out of the car and they're at an event and they're meeting somebody. Well, if you watch Kate, she always kind of steps a little bit behind, and then she lets, Will step up there, and then she'll step up. Now, he's also somewhat protective of her. He'll kind of take her, put his hand on her back and kind of lead her and say, it's fine, go ahead. So there's just this natural respect. And I watched Kate in a clip with Princess Mary and Queen Margrethe, and Kate as well. They were walking out of a room, the three of them. Kate naturally kind of went to the other side of where the Queen was. Mary did the same. I don't think they even needed to talk about it. They just knew to elevate and to prioritize where the Queen, she's older and she has more seniority, and she's a queen, have her in a position. And then they stood there for their photo shoot, or the press was taking their pictures, and then they moved on. And so it was just sort of this natural thing. With Meghan, it's always the opposite. It's like she's walking it in front, and it's again, I'm sure that can happen sometimes, but it's just disrespectful in my opinion. Okay, so Aaron, the attachment, who set and see the upholding of the bar for standards royals have to meet, would literally have no royals, then to loosen the rules. Yeah, the standards that they set are pretty high. And yeah, but at the same time, so what do you think, Aaron, about Prince Frederik blatantly like out there with another woman and then like heading out to be king? I mean, I can sympathize with the fact that, marriage is hard. Sometimes it's hard and, you're having difficulties. But when you have that type of position and that kind of, press and, you're high profile like that, that's hard, right? But yes, the standards are really hard. We probably imagine it in a more idealistic and romantic way than what it actually is. That's why I think some of us were excited for Harry and Meghan when they first went, and we understood it, especially with everything Harry had gone through, not being, the next in line to become the king or whatever. And why not, right? But then again, then you got to see how sheltered and how incapable, like, honestly, I feel like Harry is sort of incapable of really understanding what real life is outside of that shell that he was in, or bubble, right? Photos of Meghan. I saw some of them on December. They are paying to get photos. Yes. Nude photos. Stop it. And you saw them? Okay. All right. I'm not going to ask you what you thought. Camilla seems like she has difficulties in what? Oh, yes. I know. Well, I think there were some rumors about Queen Camilla's health recently. I thought that there were some concerns about her. Yeah, when you start to see people shuffling, and I don't know, she smoked for so many years. By the way, Queen Margrethe was known as like the smoking queen because she smoked so much. I mean, when you think about it, between the British royal family and like they were all smokers. But so I don't know about her health. I don't see how, okay, wait, let me see. I don't see how Harry and Meghan doing well in America. Nobody is interested in them. No deals, podcast. Yeah, even Netflix is done. I believe that too. I really think that Netflix is going to be like, okay, sorry. Like none of the other things that they've done have been impressive, right? So I don't know, guys. We will see. But is there a chance? And I would just think, like, for Harry, like Christmas time, it's so sad to me. It's sad to me that they have not been with the family for years for Christmas. It just makes no sense to me. At least, even if you wanted to be separate and different, fine, but then go home. It would even have been so much better for their career. Like they could have probably had more deals and more things getting off the ground had they had, number one, their family support, and number two, shown more respect for the royal family. I just feel like there's too many people, like the Beckhams, for example, turning their backs on them because it's like, dude, we don't want to be part of your thing, especially if you're, feuding with Will and Kate, who are also our friends. Catherine can do a great curtsy. Oh, courtesy. Wait, curtsy. No, you're true. I'd split my pants. Yes, I've seen it. It's like a grand plie in ballet. It's really amazing. Sad for his wife, but huge relatable part is loving it and happy for him. Get some real life for once. Get some real life for once. Okay. Okay, so it's been handled with the abdication. So do you guys agree that maybe this abdication was sort of rushed because of this affair? I think 1,000% yes, but that's just my opinion. But I can also see that it's possible that she was just ready. Either way, it's a wise decision. It could have been like one of those things where it's like, oh my gosh, what is he doing again? I want to save this. And that was her reasoning. But then she stopped and she was like, it makes more sense. Why not? Why not? I've, had a back issue. I'm still going to be called the queen. Why not? So anyhow, Philip was a heavy smoker. Yes. Okay. Yes. They're very isolated. So guys, that's what I wanted to talk about tonight. I know it seemed out of context since we usually talk about Harry and Meghan or Will and Kate or the king or whatever. We sort of talk a lot about the British royal family. This abdication with Queen Margrethe of Denmark was something that I thought was just so fascinating. Will we ever really know why? No, but it'll be interesting now to watch. I will say that I feel like their family is so interesting. Because I hadn't really leaned into to the Danish royal family. They are really interesting. I mean, the two brothers, I think there's 9 grandchildren altogether, maybe it's 8. Um, and it's fascinating to watch and to see a little bit of their history too. And Queen Margrethe and her relationship with her distant cousin, Queen Elizabeth, was a really good one. I love that they were Daisy and Lily. They called themselves Daisy and Lily. I think that was really cool. So anyhow, yes, they brought this upon themselves, ignoring her father. Yeah. So anyhow, guys, good night. Please do subscribe. I have one other video regarding this topic that I'm going to be uploading. And I have one that I did upload already, a longer form video. I have done quite a few shorts recently about the royal family, including just, Harry and Meghan missing Christmas, the king missing his grandchildren. I talked about Catherine in a short with Zara. And I discussed Sarah Ferguson, by the way, also in a video, which was exciting to me to see Sarah Ferguson with the family on Christmas Eve for the first time in over 30 years. So I think what the king may have done there is that he's just like, you've been around forever. You're living with with my brother. And it goes to show that there is forgiveness there. And maybe that's what King Charles was doing, was trying to show Meghan and Harry, look, we brought Sarah back into the fold. There's always room for you. So maybe that's fine. And yes, guys, I will be going live again. I had the cold thing for a while. I was in Illinois for 3 weeks. And then I also was in Asheville. And then we moved to this little office here, and it was crazy. So I have not been to Greenland, but I'd love to go to Greenland. Okay, I'm going to go, except for this looks like an interesting comment. Harry and Meghan are done in America and closed all the doors in England. I don't see someone can't wait to have them back in England. Okay, so I don't care anyhow. Just, yeah, I think they're done too. Okay, and yes, we will talk about Andrew next time. All right, see you guys later. Have a great night. Bye.